Perfect. In our previous classes, we've been discussing about various concepts. So we started with the very first class to understand about the basic things about what is ERP systems, right? So what do you mean by ERP system? What is FICO? What does it contains? What we are going to learn in as a part of FICO learning. So in ERP systems, how many companies are using SAP as their ERP system? Like I mentioned, there are 85% plus companies, 85% and more than 85% of Fortune 500 companies are using their ERP system as SAP. SAP is their main ERP system for their day-to-day activities. You think about it, out of 500 companies, for example, 85% is what? It's a very big number, right? So where a lot of organizations are using it. So which means there are a lot of opportunities in upcoming days where you can expect with a lot of companies. This number will increase. Today it's just 85%, later we don't know. So market share for SAP is so big compared to any other ERP systems. SAP is also evolving day by day with the various versions. That's what we touched based in our previous class. What are the versions so far SAP has released? What is the latest version, which is that SAP S4 HANA, along with their own database of HANA, which they are currently started using it. Then we understood about types of projects, what kind of projects that will be there generally in any project. And as a consultant, what project we are going to focus here as a part of our learning as well. So like I mentioned, we are going to touch base on the end-to-end implementation projects. We are also going to learn about the support projects. We will learn about rollout projects, migration and testing projects. So for us to cover all this, it needs at least 3 to 4 months of time, right? So just patiently allow, though it's a weekends, we'll go little long hours, like a 3 hours at least, so that we'll be able to cover all the topics, all these projects that we are planning. Otherwise, it will be difficult. I want you guys also to plan accordingly your weekends. So because that's the only time we get it to learn this. So we have planned for this one. So let's plan accordingly and put your additional effort also during the weekdays. Whenever you get time, you at your free time, start looking into this and practice it, which is going to be helpful. Okay. So we will also take wherever required breaks in a regular day. Let's say if it is a 3 hours, not to bore you or not to, though we need a minimum required breaks, we'll take 10 to 15 minutes of break in between the session. So that will come back after that. Okay. So you no need to drop after that. Try to continue the remaining class so that you will be able to continue the remaining topic. Okay. So then after the projects, so if I want to go in the flow, if you want to see what we spoke here, so we have spoken about ERP system evolution, and then we started looking into the types of projects. Then we also looked into accounting cycle. What exactly the accounting cycle means? What happens in accounting cycle? Why businesses are always keen about this one? We know that SAP is here for a business to support. We are not here, business is not here to work as per the SAP. No, right? So always SAP has to support as per business requirement. So with that intent, so we need to make sure SAP is aligned with the goals of whatever the businesses are using it, right? So for that reason, we need to make sure SAP is customized as per business requirement. With that intent, first of all, I need to know what is the requirement of a business, right? Whenever I know business requirement, only then I know exactly what am I supposed to know, what am I supposed to learn, right? What am I supposed to focus on a content? Otherwise, I'm not sure what exactly this all about. For that reason, we need to know. For that reason, we need to know what exactly the standard process that is happening in SAP. Then you are aware about what exactly you need to customize whenever your business is asking for. For that reason, we should be aware about it. So what exactly you need to configure, or how exactly you need to customize. Basic thing for us to know is what is basic accounting? What is the base requirement for any business? When I know the base requirement for any business, now I'm sure what are they expecting? Is it a standard solution that I can implement, or do I need to do the customization? This is the major piece across any project that you do, whether you are in implementation, support, rollout, migration. This piece is most important for us to understand. Is that a part of standard solution or is that a part of any other customization? That's most important thing for us to know. Okay. So now, second, there is some issue with my Zoom controls. Just allow me a bit for me to look into that. Okay. Okay, fine. So whenever we are aware about what is standard process, then I know how to focus on my customizations. That's what we are going to learn deep about it. For that reason, with a very basic thing, I ask you guys, or I have explained about accounting cycle, what exactly the business starts with, where it starts with. This is just a beginning point. Beyond that, there are many things for us to know. For us to prepare until the balance sheet, you need to understand the complete cycle of it. For that, to give you some comfort, we have discussed about certain business transactions and we understood the nature of accounts it impact and how to convert this into a journal entry with the help of golden rules of accounting. You can use this golden rules of accounting as a base, or you can also follow any other technique that you are comfortable with, whatever you have studied in your academics or at your work, you can always follow. But it's just one of the methods that you can apply to write the journal entries. With that, then we also went ahead and prepared all the trial balance, the profit and loss account, and the balance sheet, everything. Okay. So then I ask you guys also to go through the similar assignment and complete so that you will get confidence what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to perform. Okay. I hope you guys got that opportunity to work on this assignment. So those who haven't got that opportunity to work on assignment, now you can spend that time and make sure you will be able to complete that. Okay. So now after that, what we have done, if I want to continue here and see, uh, this is the list of complete accounts to give you some category for you to understand which account generally will have a debit balance, which account will have a credit balance, and also whether that account is a part of your balance sheet or a profit and loss account, and how to understand it based on the group type. So I have also given you that. So this is just a one reference, and based by looking into this reference table, you will be able to make out the remaining accounts, whether it is a part of your asset or expense, or whether it is a liability or a revenue, or can I categorize this under balance sheet or a profit and loss account? Without any confusion, you will be able to do that. Okay, just refer to this. And I also summarized here for you to understand all assets always will have a debit balance, including assets and expenses will have a debit balance, and revenues, equity, and liabilities will carry credit balance, which means whenever you are preparing any journal entry, you need to make sure how it's supposed to be written and how you're supposed to summarize the GL balance and how to prepare your trial balance and balance sheet accounts. This also will help. Okay, just keep that handy. And that's the assignment that I had given. And I also shown you Tata Motors financial statements, how it looks like. As per your comfort, I would recommend you to go through any of the company financial statements of your choice so that you can understand how company financial statements looks like, right? So that you will get a comfort. And then the most important thing we started in the immediate last class was like methodologies used in SAP projects, which is what is a SAP methodology? What is Activate methodology? These are most important things for us to understand. So whatever uh, has been implemented, how SAP projects are implemented in all the companies, right? So nowadays, those who attended previous class, what is the most preferred method? So by looking into ASAP versus Activate, if you understand correctly, what is Activate methodology, right? Because of the advantages that we have in Activate, people or the organizations would prefer Activate methodology. So whenever we are learning, whenever we are practicing, make sure we also align with Activate methodology or also the Agile methodologies we try to apply in our learning journey so that we can understand easily how organizations are implementing or how they are adapting Activate methodology or Agile methodologies. Those who already been working in a corporates, in IT or any other roles, you might already heard about something called Agile. We are going Agile, we are working in an Agile way. you know what it means, right? It is called a failing fast and give a working product, a small working product to the customer early. Rather than you give a final product at the end, give them a at least working model today. And on top of that, you can always build the remaining features. You just give a skeleton today, it looks like, wow, this is the final skeleton that I need. And on top of that, you can always do the cosmetic changes and any other additional features that you want to build it. That's how agile methodologies will help in simple for you to understand. In going forward, we'll also touch base dedicatedly, like I mentioned, what is agile, what to understand, what are the roles, and who are the people involved in agile teams. We'll understand that in detail in a separate session, not to worry at this moment. There will focus more on like our content and SAP for us to learn at this moment. All these kind of topics, but I'll touch base once again later. And also we touch base in a previous class, what is service-based company means, what is product-based company means. Whenever you are choosing your roles or whenever you are appearing for interviews next time, you plan to choose whether it is a service-based company or a product-based, which type of companies are you targeting, you can choose it. So product-based companies, there will be a lot of flexibility where you will be working on your own products, and for your own company you will be working. Whenever you join a service-based company, you join for that company, you will be under that company's payroll, but you will be working for a different client. But you will be working with a different business altogether. But whenever you are in a product-based, you will be working with your own business. I mean to say, whatever the company that you join, for the same business you are going to work. That's a one main difference. Where in a product-based company, if you are working for your own company, we call that as an in-house consultants, right? In service-based company, whenever you join, you will become an implementation partner to your client. Your implementation partner to your client or to the business to whom you are going to work. So that was a simple so far that we understood in previous class. Those who are joining for the first time and missed it, not to worry. Like I mentioned, you can always request for the access of the previous class recordings. I'll share you without any charges that you can get it. Now from today, let's understand the most important things today. Based on the time permits, we'll touch base on these two topics, okay? Because these are most important things for us to understand. And I'll go very slow manner until you guys understand, irrespective you are a working professional, you are a student, whoever it may be, or whether you are a fresher. So I'll make sure all of us will understand very minute points from today, whatever we're supposed to learn. So today, my major focus is on the system landscape and also tools called SAP GUI and Fury navigation. So navigations are a very basic thing, how to log in, how to get some information, whatever you need. There is a lot of techniques, though you are a working professional or have worked as a consultant, I'll show you different ways. You've never seen such things. Oh, these are the ways how I can get certain information. Okay, so keep watching for this session. Whenever we continue on navigation about GUI and Fury, you will understand it better. Now to get started with, so let's start with your system landscape that I wanted to start with. What is system landscape? What am I supposed to understand as a part of system landscape? In simple to understand system landscape in any organization, whenever we implement SAP, so not everything we directly work on a production system. What is production system? So in simple to understand, generally the production system is all about where business will be using for their day-to-day activities, right? Generally, whenever we are using the production system, which means we are directly posting everything or using your system for a reporting purpose, transaction recording purpose, for each and everything and a live, they are using the system. So whenever you wanted to do any configuration or whenever you wanted to do any changes in a system, supposed to happen in a production system because your business is using production systems. Now all we need to understand, there are different systems likewise. One system is called a production system, which is a final ultimate system where your business will be using for a day-to-day activities. But as a consultant, we should know how to do the configuration, how to do the customization, how to make the changes in a system. This is all we are going to learn in our next 3 to 4 months of journey as a part of this course. Okay, that's the most important piece, of course, for us to learn. But also on top of that, we need to understand where can I do these changes? Can I do directly in a production system or not? If if I can't do it directly in production system, how am I supposed to bring the changes in a production system? So today we'll understand that as a part of our system landscape, how to understand our production system and the various other systems which are available in SAP for any business. That entire systems, whatever we use as a part of this journey or as a part of business activities, we call that as a system landscape. Let's understand that system landscape. What are the other systems available as a part of this system landscape? And what are the things for us to know most importantly whenever I am working on any SAP project, whether you are working in an implementation project, whether you are working on support project, whether you are working on a rollout project or testing project, like I mentioned the various projects earlier, any project that you are working, for everyone, this system landscape is the base. Without knowing this system landscape, any of these projects, implementation, support, rollout, migration, testing, or any other project, it is highly impossible for you to lead. We need to understand that very basic thing. Only then you will be able to lead the project easily. Okay. Today, let's touch base on that system landscape. So how it starts, where it starts, what exactly for me to focus on that. Then I'll also summarize after that a quick presentation about the system landscape. Then you can also ask me about what are the things for you to understand if you are not sure about certain things about system landscape. Okay. So let me quickly take you through the system landscape thing. What is this? Today it is playing a bit. My system Zoom controls are not working as expected. So just allow me a second. Otherwise, just allow me a sec so that I'm just reconnect it. Okay. Hope my screen is fine now. So you guys can see my screen. So about the system landscape. But this is the system landscape where we are going to talk about it now. So let's say whenever I talk about system landscape, the first thing that I need to understand as a part of system landscape is, so we'll understand multiple things about part of a system landscape today. So what exactly the system landscape and how does it works on on-premises systems? And there is another one called the cloud systems. In both cloud and on-premises, there are two different versions in SAP, how they are offering all their SAP systems. Now, any company, those who are using on-premises, how do they use it? How should we understand? If somebody who is on a cloud, how should we understand? That's the main focus for us to know about the overall what exactly the system landscape for both the systems, whether you are in a cloud or whether you are in a on-premises, doesn't matter. We'll understand from for the both systems perspective what exactly this landscape works for them. Okay. Currently, I'm going to touch base about S4HANA landscape, which is similarly applicable for your ECC as well. There is no change either for ECC or S4HANA, but anyway, we are learning for S4HANA. So let's go with that S4HANA system landscape for now to understand it better. So in S4HANA, the system landscape, something starts with from your development system. There is something called a system. You call it as a development system. There is a complete system setup where you perform all your configurations, all your changes that you wanted to do it in a development system. So we'll have a dedicated system where your business will not use this development system to post any regular transactions, or they never use this development system to perform anything for a production activities. Whenever I say production activities, what exactly the production activities? Posting a journal entry, creating any master data, or preparing any reports, whatever you have seen in a business cycle. As a part of business cycle or accounting cycle, particularly the accounting cycle that we spoke in previous class, whatever the accounting cycle activities that we perform, none of the activities business will use it directly in development system. But as a consultant, we will use the development system to test all the accounting cycle activities. Whenever I wanted to test whether the configuration that I have done is working fine or not, what I'll do, I'll pick up any one accounting cycle transaction, then I'll test it in my development system. Now let's understand a bit more about development system here. So in a development system is also called modifiable system. When I say modifiable, the name itself is you can modify the system whenever you require. And as per the business requirement, you can modify this. In this system, any changes, any configurations are allowed based on your requirement. Without requirement, you are not going to do any configuration. First thing you need to understand what is my requirement. Without knowing the requirement, you cannot do the configuration. Doing a configuration for any company is very easy. I mean, any company code creation or configuring is very simple. Those who are already working professionals or being trained elsewhere, you might be able to understand this. Quickly, can I know, let's say, for example, how many of you already trained or learning your SAP for the first time? I just launched a small poll. Quickly, you guys can answer so that I'll understand how many of you are learning for the first time. If you have already learned it, maybe you can answer, you have some knowledge already, or if you are working consultant, you can pick, have some knowledge. Okay. Now you will be able to relate. Let's say, so all 7 people, so far 7 people has answered out of 10 people in this class, stating you can also see results. Maybe I don't know whether you can see the result, but okay, I'll share the results where you guys also can see on your screen. There are 4 people said they are learning for the first time, and 3 people said they already have some knowledge. Now you will be able to understand whether what system you guys are using it, how your business is using it. If you are a consultant, you can relate it very easily. If you've been as an end user, you also know that whether you used to access your development system or not, what kind of activities that you perform in your day-to-day activities, right? So now here, let's say in a development system, as it is a modifiable, without knowing any requirement, you do not do anything. Now people, whoever is trying to practice, those people who mentioned they have some knowledge, in case you already trained elsewhere or you practiced earlier, you know that by looking into some documentation or steps, you can easily complete. But whenever there is any error, you will not be able to fix it or you will struggle. And most importantly, without understanding proper requirement from a business side, if you complete the configuration, you don't know whether you are able to achieve the target or not. Whether whatever you wanted to achieve finally, did we achieve or not, you don't know. You cannot measure it because we don't know what was expected. You should know the expectation, only then you will be able to compare finally and tell that, yes, this is what I need. For that reason, you need to understand the business requirement first. Before you do any configuration, I will also recommend you to understand the business requirement first, which is the most important thing now and also in your projects. Without understanding business requirement, you don't know. For you to give a little more about business requirement, what exactly business requirement? Now, let's say, now the previous example that we spoke, our company, let's say Tata Motors, they wanted to see what is the total sales happened in the month of October and until today, for example. Otherwise, maybe the last completed month. For the October month, because so government of India announced about the GST reduction to some extent on vehicles. Now they are more interested to see the results after the GST reduction. how much sales has been increased. What is my sales versus September versus October? This is the requirement. They wanted to compare this. Now this is business requirement. Now you as a consultant, if you wanted to bring this results, what are the things that you need to understand? Now you need to understand there are GL accounts should have been created, the sales GL accounts for you to write a journal entry into that GL accounts. And you should know how to run that GL balance report. Run that GL balance report for October separately and September separately. And if possible, they might ask you, I need a comparative statement in a single place. I don't want to run two different months report. I just wanted to run in a same report and wanted to see that. Now, as a consultant, we need to understand, is this requirement, can I do it directly in SAP? Or is this a standard functionality which is available or not? If you know it is available, your work is easy. If not, that is where you need to go for a customization. So now business is asking for 2 months report in a same screen that I wanted to see at a time. How should I do it? For that, as a consultant, I need to understand whether it is standard solution or not. Now that's what we call it as development. Now, whatever they are asking, I want to make sure I understand their requirement, what exactly they're asking for. Okay. So now I understand business is looking for a 2 months of report in the same screen. For that reason, I have to make sure I can develop their system. Where you can do it in a development system. In a development system, the first activity that I do is a development. One server within the development, if you divide this into two pieces or two different systems, there is something called development system where you can perform all the developments. And the next important thing in this, we do the customization. Now the standard solution I'm not able to implement as business is asking for a 2 months same report, side by side comparative statement. I'm not able to bring it with a standard solution of SAP. If so, I need to go for a customization. All that customization also happens in my development system. These are the two major things happens in development system along with any other things that you wanted to perform. And if you wanted to understand this in a definition wise, it is used for both configuration and custom development activities. Okay, the modifiable system. We'll understand a little more about how it is exactly useful now. So now in development, what exactly the development activities we as a consultant will perform. Let's understand. We'll execute SPRO configuration. Those who said earlier, they have some knowledge about SAP, you will be able to relate what is SPRO configuration. This is how it looks like. This is the SPRO screen looks like, where you will have access to this SAP implementation guide. So that we will go through whenever we talk about in next classes. That's the core thing which we use for our all the configurations. Okay. Now, those who already worked as an end user, can you guys tell me whether you used to get an access to this SPRO menu or not in your production systems wherever you are in? Do you used to get access to this SPRO menu whenever you log into your SAP? Anyone who worked as an end users? Have you seen that? As an end user, you will not have access to SPRO menu. In a production system, you will not get that access. Okay. So we'll talk about that. I'll show you later. But this is the core activity that we do in a development system. We need to have SPRO access. And we can customize any tax related things, country to country, state to state, whatever you have it. And any payment related, vendor payments, customer payments, and all the posting related settings. And also we'll perform all custom ABAP objects development. What kind of custom ABAP objects that we do it? Any development, any customization that we want to do it, we'll perform that. And we'll also implement enhancements and badges. So whatever I'm listing out here, it's just for our knowledge purpose at this moment. Later, we are going to touch base each and everything in detail in upcoming sessions. Because whatever we do here in development system and the next system that I'm going to touch base is most important. The production system, earlier I mentioned, nothing to worry for us. Once you've done all your activities from a development, finally you will move to production system. Once it is in a production, that's a business responsibility to use the system, or responsibility to help them to make all these configurations and all these development activities. And we will also create custom Fury applications. What is Fury? What is how to use it? We'll touch base on that. I just wanted to know, people, if you guys looked into Fury earlier, anybody, let's say, for example, anybody earlier worked on a Fury application? How many of you worked on a Fury or seen at least a Fury, how it looks like, what it is? Okay. I'm just looking into the poll. Try to help me understand how many of you know what is Fury. At least you have seen some screens, or I worked at least for some time, or whatever it may be. You completely, if you don't know, that's okay. Don't worry. You say no. If you never seen or you never touch the Fury application, say no. Only 5 people. There are more people. If you guys are active in the class, please just a click. Okay. Yes or no. Anything is okay. It's a very low participation. I don't know why people hesitate to click on yes or no. Okay, fine. So far, the people who ever confirmed, the 5 people who confirmed so far, they are saying that they never worked on a Fury or they don't know what is Fury. But in S4 HANA system, which is the most important for us to know what is Fury application, right? So what is Fury, how to work on a Fury? I'm going to teach on our classes, not to worry on that. Okay. So I'll also touch base on a Fury applications to understand how to work the navigation. I have also planned Fury navigation along with how to work with a Fury. We will also do all the development activities in Fury as well. You will understand that how to do that. That's the most important piece for us to know. Any customizations in a Fury, we are not going to do it. Maybe there is a different consultant called Fury consultant. The Fury consultant will take care of all the customizations related to Fury, but we should know how to use Fury. This is just like another GUI screen for you. Okay, we'll also develop and test all the rise of objects. What is rise of objects? We'll talk about that rise of objects later, because it might be new for most of you unless you are a working consultant, which is the most important for us to know the rise of objects, which is one of the important in your interviews as well. Without knowing customization objects or a rise of objects, trust me, nobody can clear their interviews. Okay, all the companies would expect you to have end-to-end implementation knowledge along with rise of objects implementation. Okay, so we are going to learn all those things, not to worry. Okay, and also we'll build analytical CDS views in development activities as a part of development activities. And we'll also manage transport requests in your development activities. We'll touch base on all of them one by one slowly. At this moment, it will be like too much of information for you to understand. So that's about all the development activities that we perform. Once you complete all these development activities, what exactly we do? The next system, what we do is, so there is something called quality assurance system. In short, you call it as QAS, quality assurance system. In quality assurance system, what we exactly perform? This system is majorly for us to test all the development activities that we have performed in the previous system. Okay, so whatever we have done, the development activities, you need to test all those in quality assurance system. Now this system is called non-modifiable system. This system, you will not be able to make any changes in terms of configurations, the customizations, or any changes you cannot do which are going to impact your configuration. Configuration level, you cannot make any changes here. That's the reason we call this as non-modifiable system. Now, in non-modifiable system, we say quality assurance system 1, or you can call this as a QS1. This quality system is also divided into multiple depending on business requirement. Either it can be completely one system or it can be divided into 10 systems also. Now, it is just like a partitions for us to manage the data. So now QS1 is one of the server, or I can also call it as a client. QS1 is one of the client under quality system. So where we'll perform various testings here. And it can also have a QS1 and QS2 and so on. Okay. Here we perform testing of all the configuration and custom development activities that we have done in development system. So to ensure that all the configuration or the business requirement is working as expected. Only when you test it and confirm it is working as expected as per business requirement, only then we'll move all the configuration into production system. That's the final step that we do. Now let's understand a bit more about what exactly we do under quality system. This is also in short called as a test system. Testing system, we perform various testings here. First, what we will do is we'll import all the configuration that we have done in our development system. From development system, you need to copy all the settings into your test system or a quality system. That activity you call it as an import. So whenever you import, so all that configuration from your development to quality, you will be able to see all that settings which are available now in your quality system. With that, you will start testing the system one by one. How to test and all that in part of our testing project, we'll understand all that in detail later. For now, understand there is system called a test system where you perform all the testing. Whenever you want to test it, majorly we'll use this quality system. That's what we need to remember. Now, we'll also import and test the major configurations, the main implementation that we have done, along with your custom developments as well, which related to ABAP program related or any Fury application related or any interface related configurations that we have done. Both you'll be able to test it in test systems. Okay. The next thing that we perform here is integration testing, which is end-to-end cross-module testing. So let's say integration, whenever you want to do, let's say you are working in a finance department. Now there is a new employee joined in your organization. Now, whenever employee joins, your HR will create their record automatically in their HR system. When they create this, what happens? You can see their record. You should be in a position to see their record in your finance system as well. How do you see what to expect there, right? So whenever they create employee number and complete record of that employee, whenever they make a payment or the payroll team makes a salary payment to that employee, as a finance person, they should be in a position to see that record here along with the employee number. Some confidential information may be are restricted, but basic information, they should be able to see that. That integration with a HR system, now I should be able to see that. Or I am making sales to a new customers, right? And from my company is making sales to the customers. The sales happens from your sales department. In SAP, what is the module that is relevant to the sales that we spoke earlier? Which module is closely connected? For a sales related, which module do we use? It is sales and distribution module. There is another module in SAP called SD, sales and distribution. We are working in FI, which is a financial accounting. Similarly, there is another module called sales and distribution. When sales happens from a sales and distribution module, or sales order gets created in your SD, or new customer makes a payment, all that records in SD. Now, what if that record is not passing into FI? I will not be able to prepare my profit and loss account because sales information is important for me. How much I received is also important. I need to know how much sales I made, how much is outstanding, how much cash I received already from my customers, which is a very crucial information. This information has to flow from SD module into your FI. That is called integration. Now I wanted to make sure this integration is working fine. The integration between SD and FI is working fine. And similarly, there are multiple modules in SAP. not just 2 or 4, right? From all these modules, we should be able to see the data in FI. That is called integration. As a consultant, you need to make sure integration points are perfectly configured in development system. That you need to test here in test system by checking, by posting certain transactions and see whether you are able to see it or not, whether the data is flowing from SD to your FI or not, from MM to FI or not, from controlling module, from FI to controlling, everything, whether it is flowing correctly or not. That integration you need to check. The connection between multiple modules, we need to understand. When we don't know what exactly happening there, that will become difficult, right? As a consultant, we need to understand how exactly it is working. That is called integration between multiple modules. That is one of the crucial things. We are going to learn how to do this integration, and we will also test all these systems. So when I create purchase order in MM and post MyGo and MyRow interest, later we'll touch base on that. At this moment, it might be a new terminology for most of you. Let's wait for it. Now, whenever I create purchase order, invoice entry, and the final payment to the vendor, is that happening in my financial module or not? Similarly, for your SD, customer related, the same thing, we'll check that here. Okay. Now, and we will also conduct UAT. What is UAT? Your user acceptance testing with business users. Whenever you are performing any testing activity, we need to make sure. So your business also test the system, whatever has been configured by us. And they need to confirm whether it is working as their expectation or not. That is most important thing. We need to get a confirmation from business. Okay. So that activity is called UAT. Business will test the system and confirm, yes, this is working fine as I'm expecting. Until they give a sign off, whatever the configurations we as a consultant have done has no value. They have to say that, yes, everything is working fine. They have to give that final sign off. When they give a sign off, we will move all this configuration into the production system only after that. Okay, that activity happens in your test system. Your business will get into test system. They get access to the test system to test particular things. I'll teach you how to test all that and how to look into that aspect. And also we need to validate various workflows has been designed. All the roles and authorizations has to be confirmed. And also we need to execute data migration mock runs, which is another important task in test system. There is a lot of data of your business so far in last many years, whatever your business has accumulated. Now, whenever they are implementing SAP, now we need to make sure all the data is also migrated, all their old system data into SAP. Now, how do we do it in a production system? What if something goes wrong in a production system, right? For that, we will test in a quality system first. In a quality system, we'll do all the data migration mock run. Mock run is just a mock. You just do it once and see whether it is happening correctly or not. Maybe take some small set of data with various dimensions and upload it. There are some techniques or some tools that we use for a data migration, that is LSMW, LTMC. There are multiple things. We'll touch base on these tools also in our upcoming classes, how to understand your LSMW, how to use it, right? And how to use migration cockpits. There is some templates, migrate your data templates given by SAP, and how to customize the templates. All that we will learn in coming classes. Okay. And we will also perform performance testing, particularly for our programs. And whenever we perform certain programs to run or certain huge transactions we are loading, it might cause a slowness in a system performance. That is where we perform performance testing. So while performing performance testing, we'll understand what is the system speed? How is it responding whenever I'm loading huge data? Whenever I'm accessing certain data, how is it responding? All that we will understand in performance testing. Okay. We'll see that, all that in upcoming class. Okay. Now, and also certain test scripts and test cases, whatever you wanted to execute, will create and also validate all of them in test system, so that you can assume that all all they are working fine in your production system as well. For that, you need to write certain test script and test cases, like we spoke in earlier class, or maybe we'll touch base on this separately in a testing project whenever we talk in detail about what is test scripts, how to prepare test cases, what are the various test methodologies that we use. Okay. And whenever there is any issues that are to be fixed, wherever you see certain functionality is not working as expected, we will also raise the tickets and will also resolve all those issues whenever whatever has been reported either by business in UAT or you as a consultant, you tested in various part of various performance tests, integration testing, or any testing that you have done and identified some issue. Those things need to be reworked in a development system. All such things will be identified from your test system. And finally, we'll approve transports for production. Once all these are done, everything is fine. If everything is working as expected, then business will approve to transport all this configuration into the production system. That's the final thing that happens in quality system. Once we're done with all this testing, then the final system. So far, we've spoken about two systems, development and quality system. Now, the final third system is called your production system. That's the most important thing where your business will be using it. Again, this production system is a non-modifiable. So only modifiable system in the entire landscape is your development system. Your quality and production system both are non-modifiable systems because these are not supposed to be used for any development things. First, we need to perform any development activities in development system, and then you move that to quality, test quality, finally you move to the production. This is applicable for any software product, not only for SAP, you take it any software development, all the companies majority will follow SDLC lifecycle, software development lifecycle. For us, no need to go deep about what is SDLC, how it works, but at a high level for you to know, SDLC is all about develop some software and test it, whether it is working as expected or not, then you give it to your customer for them to use. Now, let's say I'm buying a mobile or a laptop. A company, whenever they manufacture or assemble laptop, they don't just like that they sell it. They also send it for a QC. Whenever you purchase next time any electronic gadgets, check very carefully. You will find a small green sticker at the circle sticker with QC or a QC passed. Okay, you will find that. Lot of products you can see that sticker. Otherwise, still for you to understand, every product has to go through quality check. They will check as per the customer requirement it is working fine or not. Right? So everything has to pass in a quality, only then it will move to production system. It's the same thing happens. Once it is in a production system, so we don't make any changes. Now, let's say you purchased some product, it is not working as expected. Let's say you purchased a mobile, the display is not working. Do we try to repair on our own from a customer, or what do we do? When the display is not working, can I repair on my own?
No.
No. What exactly we do when the mobile is not working?
Servicing.
We send it back to service. This is a problem that I identified. I want this to be fixed by an expert. You need an expert who can fix it. Now, in a production system, what exactly I do? I just use this and see whether it is working fine or not for my purpose. Here, majoritarily, you will have a PS1 system. PS1 is production system 1. In production system, what we do, this is the live system where all your actual business activities or day-to-day activities will be happening. Okay. Only tested and approved configurations and developments will be moved into production system. Anything that is not tested or not approved will not be there with production system. Now let's understand a bit more about production system. In production system, like I mentioned, for your entire accounting cycle, any activity that you want to perform, you can perform that in your day-to-day business activities in production system directly. And master data and transactional data we'll create as part of that. Whatever the master, we'll touch base on what is master data, what is transactional data later. So we'll create or we can use in production system. And we'll also monitor your business operations using your standard or any custom reports that you wanted to run for a business purpose. You can do that. And also we'll run month-end closing activities or period end. We call it as a period end because it can be month-end or a year-end. Everything is a part of our period end closing. And whenever you want to prepare financial reporting, we use production system to bring it. You don't run the same thing from your development and use it as a final. You don't run that from quality and use it. Always you need to use production system for your final reports because this is where you maintain all the data. And executing all your F110, which is your automatic payment runs and dunnings. We'll touch base on all this in detail, how to do that. But for now, to get a high level understanding, to make any automatic payment runs or dunning notices to our customers or any asset related transactions, including your asset depreciation, asset acquisition, everything will happen from our production system. And we'll also monitor the system with the help of tools called Solution Manager, which is one of the SAP products, Solution Manager. Also, it is called as a Solman. In short, Sol, 3 letters from here and 3 letters from here, Solman. And something called a job monitoring. There is some other tools, something like a Redwood and third-party tools, which will help to monitor the jobs. And also some alerts, each and everything will monitor in a production system to see whether all the activity is happening in a backend or not. Because there will be a lot of programs, automatic program schedules happens in a backend. No need to accountants has to sit and do all the activity. Majority of the things will happen in a backend automatically with the help of scheduled jobs. All those scheduled jobs, are they happening correctly or not on time? All this job monitorings will help. And alerts also will tell you whether the system up or down or what's happening, everything that will give you. Okay. And also will manage any authorizations, roles, and any user provisioning required from production system. Let's say you have 100 users. No, not all 100 users have to have an access to HR database. Maybe HR department supposed to have all the HR related data, not all the finance department, not all your manufacturing department, not your sales and distribution department. And similarly, customer related information, maybe HR no need to have it. HR can deal with only internal employees. Why should they wanted to know the customer information? They should be restricted. That is authorizations and the roles as a part of that. We'll see all that, how to give that, how to understand that later. And finally, all the approved changes by business will be moved into your production system and will be used here, like we discussed. And whenever business required, they will also perform audits and also any other compliance checks also they perform in production system directly. They do not use any other systems to perform all these activities in short. Okay. And finally, they will also handle support tickets and incident management. This is the another most important thing where production system is useful. In production system, whenever they are using, they feel that something is not working as expected. Now we need to raise incident or we need to raise a ticket. So whenever it is not working fine, there is some problem. It is not working. Like we discussed about mobile example, when I purchased a mobile, screen is not working. What do? I send it back to my manufacturer or the service center to repair it. Now, similarly, in SAP also we need to understand whenever something is not working, right? We need to understand what should I do it. Right now, let's look into it. Overall, I have so far to summarize, we have a modifiable system that contains development system. Sorry, my first system that is a development system, which also you can call it as a modifiable system where you can make all the development changes. So this contains development and customizing clients where you can make that. From there, what we will do, whatever you have done, then we will move this to quality system. When you move to quality system, we will be able to perform all the testings here. That quality system can have multiple systems like QS1, QS2, QS3, depends. Okay. This is generally non-modifiable system. You cannot modify the system. Once everything is tested from this, it will move to your final system called production system. So that is how all your transport, all the data will move from one system to other system. From modifiable, from your development system to production, how data flows in your interviews or in your project, you need to have this clarity. So all the activities as a consultant will start doing from development system. As a consultant, you will have access to all the three systems, but what you will be performing here is all the activities that you need to perform here is first you need to know, let's say, where can I see the drawings? Okay. So whenever I am working as a consultant, I might have access to all three systems. All three systems I might have access. But however, so generally I'll perform all my activities only in development system. I perform all my activities here in development system and will also extend my testing activities in my quality system. That's it. I'll restrict myself to only to the two systems, not beyond this. Now, let me say, as a consultant, you need to work on only these two systems. You perform all the development activities here and test it. This is completely a business side. You are not going to work on anything in a production system. In case you wanted to work here, there is something called firefighter access ID. At this moment, it might be very new. We'll talk about that later. So we'll see that later, how to understand what is firefighter access ID, how to use, what it is all about. Okay. So, so far I understand there are three systems. Whenever something is not working fine as expected, what am I supposed to do? That's what we need to focus now as the next thing. Let's say there is some defect in the production system your business is using, and they found some system is not working fine as expected. There is some issue, which is there is some error, right? The whatever you call it, error, bug, issue, what are they supposed to do? Can I fix it directly from production? Just like the previous example that we spoke, production is all about customer hands. Now I purchased a mobile, my screen is not working. Can I fix on my own? Answer is no. The same thing happens for SAP as well, right? It has to go back for a proper fixing by authorized people. Who's supposed to fix in SAP the landscape whenever there is a problem? In which system that we need to fix it? If you understand this landscape, which system can I modify?
Development.
Only development. Only development, right? Now, wherever you find a problem, whether you find in a quality system or in a production system, it has to go back to your development system. That's what we need to understand. Okay. Whether you see any issue, wherever in either it is in a development, sorry, whether it is in production or a quality, if you find any configuration issues while testing in a development system also, obviously it has to be fixed in development system. Now let's understand the next thing. How am I going to do that? Now we know that these are the three systems available and you have identified a problem in production system, for example. Or if you identify in a quality system also, it is going to be the same cycle. So it will start flowing from your wherever you identify. In this case, I am marking from production system because majority your business users will be using it and they will report issues. So it will flow from your production to development. It will go back or it will be sent it back to them for a correction. If it is identified in a quality system, yes, from here also it happens the same thing. Whether it is from production or from a quality, it has to go back to the development. That's the original point. From here, we perform all those corrections as a consultant in development system and we'll send it to quality system as usual. There's the same flow. And you, as usual, you test it here in a quality system. Once it is tested, then you will move this to production system finally. This is the cycle. It generally happens. What you're supposed to do. Okay. So now let's understand when we see that this is the general thing that we do, right? So now the rest of the things, just give me okay. Now once we understand that, what we need to know here is this is the general flow which happens in your system landscape whenever we identify any issues. That's a very common thing. as a consultant that will be doing it. Now, the next things what I supposed to know here is for a cloud version. So for let's say that this is for on-premises versions, how it works. Now, similarly, if it is for a cloud version, there is something called a public and a private cloud versions. For both cloud versions, how it works, the same system landscape. Let's understand at a high level, nothing to go deep about it, just to have some idea about it. So always it goes with, I said, it starts with your development workspace. It is managed by SAP directly. Whereas in on-premises, development system is in the control of implementation partner. But whereas in cloud, it will be completely controlled by SAP. SAP will own all this development piece. The server is with them. And from there, they will deploy this to your development tenant, something called a development tenant. This is the main server that we have development workspace. From there, they will deploy all the configuration, or let's say they will copy the raw data or one sample template into development system here into a tenant. From here, make any development changes that require or any customization required, and you will export from there to your tenant, test tenant. So for your test system, just like in your other landscape, what we understood, we'll move that to your test system. Once you tested, everything looks good, then you will forward it to a central server here. From here, it will forward to your production system that you call it as, you will import from test to from your forward system to your production system. If there is any issue identified, you will send it back to development. From here, you will make all the changes, and again, it will come to test system and to the production system. This is how it moves from there to here. Okay, that's a quick to understand about system landscape so far, whatever we have discussed. Okay, now let's go deep about it to understand the remaining things for us to know. So far about the system landscape. Any questions for anyone?
Oh, Nasima, one question here.
Yeah, please.
So, whatever we explained just now, do we get any questions in interview?
Yes, it is a very simple and a common question you can expect. What was the system landscape that you worked in a previous client or a previous project? What was the system landscape? How many systems were there? That's what we need to explain. They might ask you, what is your system landscape in previous client?
Okay.
Okay, whenever they ask for a system landscape, we just need to tell them there were a 3 system landscape that we used to use in that 3 system landscape. So like we discussed here, you just bring the same example. So that we spoke, which contains your development system, right? Let me say this one, let me take this screenshot and keep it for our reference. I'm just trying to bring that just a second so that you will be able to refer this later. In short, so I'm just keeping this for our reference. This is the system landscape that you just need to let them know. Once we're done with our training, this system landscape will become very small point for you. You will not forget. You will easily remember it at this moment, as it is the very few initial classes, you feel that, but you can easily remember this. Okay. Rather than this, I think I would give you the other one where we have that flow to understand better. Let me give you the replacement of that. So this is the system landscape that all of us should be aware. So let me bring this here. Okay. So hope that answered you, right? You just need to explain about these 3 systems. So development system, quality system, and production system. These are the 3 systems that we had in our previous project or a previous client. That's all we need to know. Okay.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, like, even if we go with experience also, we may expect this question, right?
Yes, whether you are experienced or a fresher, still they might touch base on this just to filter and see whether the person is really has experience or not.
Okay.
So if the person claiming as a 5 years experience in an interview, they don't know exactly whether that person has experience or not. Only by understanding their knowledge, they can judge it.
Okay. Got it, Pramod.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, have that idea. I'll also share that presentation, whatever we have seen that with all what exactly we do in development, what we do in quality, what we do in production system, so that you can go through that and understand what exactly happens, and you will have a clarity. In upcoming classes, what we will do, we'll also get into the development system and do all the configuration, and I'll also tell you whenever we talk about the testing, how to do the testing. Assume that we are doing it in quality system, and we do that in the production activities in production system. Okay, we'll have this system landscape also set up in our practice servers so that you will be aware how to use it. Okay.
And Nasana, one more thing, this quality system will be having one server or there are two servers?
It can have a multiple also. Depends on a business requirement. By default, you can assume just one server, but
Okay.
it can have a multiple also depending on client to client.
Okay. It will not be like different company wise, right? If client is having different operations, okay, like ABB Limited, ABB Private Limited, likewise. So system quality system will be designed likewise, or is there any one quality system for all the companies?
So let's say that for example, ABB company is using SAP. Okay. ABB company will have their own development system, and they will have their own quality system. They will have their own production system. None of the companies will have access to ABB's development, quality, and production. Now, if I go back to Flipkart, Flipkart is also using SAP. Flipkart will not be able to access ABB's development, quality, or production. They will also have their separate system landscape. All three systems they have to set up. Everyone has to have their own three system landscape.
Understood. Like as you in the diagram, you were mentioned quality system, one
Correct.
system, right? Whereas in production, you are showing only production system.
Production will be single system generally.
Single system, but quality might be have
Quality can have a dual. Yeah. One is for, let's say, data backup, one for a testing purpose, other one for end user training purpose, other system maybe for a different purpose. Depending on company purpose, they can split this into multiple.
Understood.
Yeah. And similarly for a development also. Production, it just everything is in one system. Quality can divide into multiple based on their requirement.
Got it.
Perfect. Any other questions about this particular one?
Nothing.
Others. Perfect. If no other questions on a system landscape, we'll jump on to the other topic.